Good day, my friends, and how are you doing today? My name is Eric Anderson. I'm here playing around with the Metronome Beats app on my iPad, and it is equally usable by downloading it through the Play Store if you're on Android. And today, what I'm going to do is, like I said before, I want to feature some songs, some different parts of songs that you can set up with the app so you can have a really good foundation from the drum set, that is, without having your drummer there. And today, the song that I want to feature, it's actually going to be the drum track that is found in the intro and the verses of AC/DC's Back in Black. So this song here, I have it mapped out, at least in my head, that somewhere in about the 85 beats per minute range would do the trick for this song beyond a shadow of a doubt. So I got 85 beats here. But here's where you got to know a little something about this app. When you have four beats per bar, what that means is that you're setting up your metronome to where it's only playing one measure at a time. But the drum track for AC/DC's Back in Black, and actually all the instruments kind of follow this. The phrase of the verses and the intro is actually built over 4 measures instead of 1 measure. So if 4 times 1 equals 4 beats, then 4 measures times 4 beats would equal 16 beats. And then because of that, because we're going to be playing this over 4 measures, we also are going to need to reset the clicks per beat from 1 beat per click, or one beat or 1 note per click to 4 notes per click. And the reason why is because that little syncopated phrase at the end, the syncopated rhythm at the end of the phrase that really makes that song what it is actually done over 16th notes. So we set this up so we can get those 16th notes. Once we got that set, we tap the drum set page, open up this grid, and this grid takes us back to what we've been playing around with, which is all the drum set instruments. Now for us, the 4 instruments that I'm going to rely on today is I'm going to rely on the crash cymbal, the snare drum, the bass drum, and the closed hi-hat. So I think the first thing I want to do is, let's go ahead. I want to get my cymbals set up first. So I'm going to put the crash cymbal on the first beat, and then I'm going to do the closed hi-hats on each beat that follows up until we get to the last 2 beats, or excuse me, actually the last 3 beats of this phrase. And the only way that we'll know that we're on the last 3 beats is when we're looking at this grid. Here's the last grid, second to the last, third to the last. So I want those to go through like that. And I'm going to take these bass drum notes out right now. And I'm just going to play it each time, one time through with each iteration, so that you can kind of hear how the whole thing just starts to come together. So with this being set up, this is what just our cymbals are going to sound like until the last 3 beats of the measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Da 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 da. Right? So now we're going to add in the basics of the drums, and all that it is, it's Phil Rudd, it's AC/DC. They just keep it straightforward, what they call 4 on the floor, where you just get the bass drum on 1, the snare on 2, bass on 3, snare on 4. Let me keep going along. Again, bass on 1, snare on 2, bass on 3, snare on 4. A third time around, right? Oop, that doesn't look right. Snare on 4, there we go, right? Bass drum on 1, snare on 2, bass on 3, snare on 4. And this finally puts us into the last phrase where we get this bass drum on 1, but then we get this where we hit the syncopated measure. So let's do this. Let's give this a listen first. Da da da, da da da, da 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 da, da da da. Da, da, da. Now you get that syncopated phrase. So we're going to put that together right now. The syncopated phrase will go like this. This is in the last measure, which is count 13, 14, and 16 on the app. But this is beat 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the measure. So on beat 1 of the measure, we have the snare and the bass drum and the hi-hat. This is where the syncopated phrase starts. It starts on the 2 with just the snare, and right behind it you have the bass drum and the closed hi-hat. Then you have the snare on the of 2, of 2, and then you have the bass and the hi-hat on count 3. Then you have the snare on the and of 3, this is in block or in grid 15, and then you have the bass drum and the hi-hat right behind it on the of 15, and then finally you get to the final measure, and there's nothing on 1, and then you have the snare on the E, the and the or the last 3 blocks of grid 16. So now we give this a listen, and let's see, you tell me if this sounds like it's close enough to AC/DC's Back in Black. Boom. Da 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 da. So it sounds like it sounds close enough that if I'm at home in the woodshed and I got to work on this to get it, I just grab my bass, and I got this Ibanez acoustic electric bass here, and I would just go right along with it. 1, 2, ready, go. And there you go. With just that short period of time, I was able to set up the Metronome Beats app, the drum set page, in such a way that it can actually mimic fairly closely the drum beat for AC/DC's Back in Black. And that's actually the intro, the first and the second verse. So one thing I want to point out about this is that there is something that I wanted to do, which is I wanted to be able to draw out the hi-hat sound more in the mix. And I saw this little equalizer type bar down here, and I went to open it up. And what it does is that it takes me to this page, to the mixer, where if you want to pay some extra lunch money for it, then you can get this. And I noticed with the mixer that the order of the instruments is upside down from the other. Like on the previous page, the bass drum was way down here and the cowbell was way up here, right? So, but that's no big deal. The reason why I was exploring this is I wanted to see if I could adjust the mix for the closed hi-hat to where I could actually get the closed hi-hat to cut through a little bit more. Most likely what I would have to do is actually back off the bass drum, the snare drum, and I would leave the crash cymbal as well, and just kind of back the 2 drums off just a little bit so that it makes the closed hi-hat a little bit more prominent in the mix. But anyways, my friends, as you can see, we're not able to do that. You'd have to pay for it, and I have no opposition to it. But my desire is to share and preview the app in its free form to see just how much that it can actually do for us. So this is kind of like the intro and the verses to AC/DC's Back in Black, using the Metronome Beats app to set it up so that I can just sit down and grind it out in the woodshed and get it up to speed until I'm at the point to where I can play it comfortably, and then I can take it to my rehearsal and I can sit down with the folks in the band and we can all start playing together, and at least I've done my homework and I'm ready to get dialed in with everybody else in the band. So that's it. I hope you enjoy this. I'm definitely on the hunt for more songs that we could map out on in the Metronome Beats app. I'm actually considering a small chunk of a song by Dream Theater, which would be kind of fun. It's the Mike Portnoy time of Dream Theater. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that one yet. So with that being said, please, if you're liking this, you know the game, give us a like here. If you think it's worth sharing with somebody else, definitely send it to them. Also, I think the two things that I would like the most is, like, I picked up a couple or three subscribers over the last couple of weeks, which genuinely does excite me quite a bit. But I would love to see your questions, your comments, your ideas, any song that I should try to map out with this particular app. Please put it in the comments down below and we'll see what happens. So with that being said, I'm out. Y'all take care and I will see you on the next video.